This session's about taking you through the new Insurance Brokers Code of Practice and really giving you a good understanding of why it's structured the way it is, and also the key things you really need to focus on as insurance brokers. The reality is, with insurance, as we've all seen, is that documents like the product disclosure statement that the government has introduced to try and simplify things for consumers, they really don't work that well. It's complex, people don't read their documents, so that's where insurance brokers and their value increase significantly. The core part of the code from an insurance broker's perspective are the service standards. Okay, so we have 12 service standards. And what these were designed to do were to set out in a logical transactional style progression, the key things you as insurance brokers need to focus on when you're dealing with your customer. I'll take you through the service standards one by one. Number one, we will comply with all relevant law. Number two, we will transparently manage any conflicts of interest that arise. Number three, we will clearly tell you if we do not act for you. This is important if you're acting in a mixed capacity. Number four, we will clearly tell you about the scope of our covered services. So this is all about making sure a client understands what services you're going to be providing to them, so there's no dispute. Number five, we will discharge our duties diligently, competently, fairly, and with honesty and integrity. No surprise there, that's a requirement. And it distinguishes between the obligations that apply when providing covered services on the customer's behalf and when providing services on behalf of the insurer, which is an important distinction because the obligations change and you need to be very aware of that. Number six, we will clearly tell you how our covered services are paid for before we provide them and answer any questions you have. So this is the all-important remuneration disclosure aspect of it. Number seven, we will handle any money received in accordance with relevant law and any agreement with you. You'll all be aware of the significant obligations under the Corporations Act in that regard. Number eight, we will ensure that we and our representatives are competent and adequately trained to provide the relevant services and will maintain this competence. So this is all about maintaining competence through training and other things to be able to obviously keep up to date. We all know how many changes there are in the legislation, so it's crucial you kept up to date all the time on what's happening so you can advise your clients properly. Exactly what we have to do as lawyers. Number nine, we will respond to catastrophes and disasters in a timely, professional, practical and compassionate manner in conjunction with any industry-wide response. Number 10, we will ensure that we have an internal complaints and disputes handling process that meets the Code complaints and disputes process standards. Number 11, we will support NIBA in promoting the Code and make information on the Code, including on how to make a complaint and our covered services readily available to you. And finally, number 12, we will not engage in activity or inactivity that is reasonably likely to bring the insurance broking profession into disrepute. So there's a complaints and disputes resolution process section which breaks it down into a very easy step-by-step process so that you and the consumers can clearly follow what has to happen. So there's making a complaint process. If that's unresolved, you go into a dispute process, and then finally it may be referred off to FOS to be handled in accordance with their terms of reference, or in other cases it may go through to the Code Compliance Committee for resolution there. So it's very important to understand that process. Ultimately, of course, if the Code Compliance Committee decides you've done the wrong thing, they have the power to impose various sanctions and binding orders on you, which you're bound to comply with. So obviously the trick is to get it right, understand what you're doing, set your procedures up so that you meet the standards. So you should be extremely proud of this code and use it as a good tool for making sure you continue to provide your services in a professional manner.